Do not forget that you have thousands of miles to travel still, even as you reach Los Angeles and San Francisco. The Pacific coast from Baja California to Mexico up to the Canadian border in Washington state is 3,000 miles. And the most beautiful scenarios, such as Yosemite National Park and Lake Tahoe in California, the Umpqua River and Crater Lake in Oregon, and Mount Hood and Columbia River in Washington, will take some more time to explore.
Frankly, even on paper, I feel overwhelmed already by the size and diversity of the United States. I remember the folk song by Pete Seeger, "This land is my land," which begins with words, "This land is my land, this land is your land, from redwood forest to Gulf Stream water."
That is an inspiring melody and a lyric, and still popular. You will see the land for yourself. More important than sightseeing, by now you would have met many types of American people and experienced their way of life. That is the purpose of your trip.
I know, but after reaching the Pacific and driving 3,000 miles along the coast, I would need to get back to Boston.
Oh yes, another 3,000 miles to go. As you go east from California, you will cross the Rockies near Utah and traverse the northern Great Plains of the United States. Along the way, Yellowstone Park is not to be missed. You will still see some buffaloes there, even though they are almost died out after millions were hunted and killed in the early 20th century. Your major stop will be Chicago, the city of broad shoulders, the hub of America's Midwest.
The area around the Great Lakes is heavily industrialized. I know of Detroit, Cleveland, Gary, known for cars and steel mills. What else is significant about the Midwest?
Besides heavy industries, the Midwest also produces wheat and corn and other agricultural products. For China, in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, most of the American missionaries actually came from the Midwest.
As I said, we will come back to the sociology of America in a different session. My question is, where do I go after visiting Chicago?
By the time you get to Chicago, you may have already be exhausted and anxious to go home. I would recommend driving directly from Chicago to Boston via New York. It's only a 500 to 600 mile drive. Since you will be a veteran traveler by now, you can zip through the Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York turnpikes in no time. You would have completed the United States full circle.
Okay, thank you so much for your advice. Now I have a pretty good idea about my itinerary. I'm really excited.
Planning the trip is not difficult. Anybody can do sightseeing. But to develop the insights and getting the most out of your travels, you need to study the language and culture of the people intensely. You already have a good foundation, but many details still take time to learn and absorb.
Yes, I agree absolutely. It will be the same if someone travels in China without preparation in advance. It will not be fruitful. I remember I went to Greece 10 years ago for a 2-week trip. I really studied Greek civilization and history intensely for 6 months before I left, and I learned so much on that trip. I need to come back and consult you after I do my homework about the United States.
I will be happy to help and look forward to your reporting on Beijing World News.
You and Professor Lee have been fabulous teachers. I hope to see you both on my return.
That will be my pleasure.